Hey there, I'm Emily Teague. I'm a fashion and portrait photographer, and today I'm going to be talking about my 3 favorite and most used modifiers when using strobes. There are a few modifiers that didn't make this list that I also really adore, but these 3 are definitely what I use the most. So starting us off, number 1, my Elinchrom Rotalux 39-inch or 100 centimeters, and I prefer the deep version of this modifier. There's a lot to love about this one. First off, it creates an even light distribution and a wraparound quality that's unique to the Rotalux series. It's small enough that I can easily throw the carrying case on my back or in a rolling case if I'm moving and shooting on location, but I also use this modifier in my studio a ton as well. It creates these really large and beautiful catch lights in my model's eyes that I just adore, and like all the Rotalux modifiers, it's got 2 layers of diffusion, but recently Elinchrom came out with additional stackable layers that you can Velcro on top of each other. So I often want really soft lighting that wraps around my subjects, and this is all going to help me do that. But if I wanted to leave the front layer of diffusion off entirely, then that's going to act like a mix of a reflector and a silver umbrella, and that's going to give some crisp details with a wider spread of light while still acting as a softbox with that first layer of diffusion on there. And that silver reflective and dappled liner of the modifier is what's helping create that crisp and sharp light, which is just another reason why I love this modifier. And then let's talk about the decision of the deep versus the shallow. I prefer the deep because it's creating a more narrow and controlled spread of light than a shallow modifier would, and I always recommend actually visualizing that light coming out from a modifier if you need help to understand this. That light is going to travel in the direction those sides are controlling it to go in, so if I'm only lighting one person, which I usually am, a deep modifier with a narrow spread of light is going to be great for me. If I only have one modifier and I'm shooting multiple people, then I might want to consider a shallow modifier with a wider spread, and maybe something larger too. Here are a few examples shot with my 39-inch. And talking about larger modifiers, that gets me to my next favorite, number 2, my Elinchrom Rotalux 59-inch or 150 centimeters indirect. So there's a lot to love about this one that's the same as what I mentioned for my 39-inch, like the silver interior lining, 2 layers of diffusion, and additional stackable layers, but there's a little bit more here too. This is a pretty massive modifier, and like we've covered in past videos where I talk about lighting, the larger your light source is in relation to your subject, the softer that light's gonna be. And we've already covered my love for soft light here, but then there's something even more exciting about this modifier, which is the indirect mount inside. So instead of my light going off, bouncing all around my softbox, and then coming through a couple layers of diffusion and onto my model, that light is now pointed in the opposite direction, and instead it's going to hit this silver plate inside, which is reflective, and that's also going to give us some contrast. And then it's going to come back, bounce, and go through those layers. And the choice of our larger 59-inch instead of our 39-inch is going to mean softer light and shadows as well, which sometimes I want, sometimes I don't. So keep in mind, I'm choosing my modifiers based on what I'm shooting and the look and what it needs to be. I approach every shoot as having its own needs and look, and then I'm going to achieve that look by considering what kind of light I want through the choice of my modifiers and placement. So here's a few examples using my 59-inch indirect where we're getting that really beautiful soft light and soft lighter shadows and those great catch lights. Last modifier I'll go over with you, number 3, my Elinchrom Softlite White Beauty Dish, 27-inch or 70 centimeters. So my beauty dish is going to have a little harder light than my Rotalux softboxes would, and I have mine with white on the inside instead of silver, so it's going to give a little less contrast, be a little softer than the silver would be. And then I can combine that with the diffuser to make it softer and give great catch lights that are more filled in, round, and white. I'm not always a fan of how the beauty dish reflector catch lights look on its own, but sometimes. Here's an example of my catch light at 10 o'clock in my model's eye. This is without any diffusion stock paired with it, just so you can see what it looks like. My beauty dish here comes with a deflector kit so that I can modify the tone and softness of my light through white, silver, gold, and translucent options, or I can pair it with a grid if I'm trying to get more control and precision. That grid is going to control the spread of light by flagging off the side angles, it's preventing the light from spilling to the sides, and it's keeping it confined and focused. Most commonly, I'm using my beauty dish with a diffusion sock though, and getting really great detail in my model's skin, so I do tend to stick to using this just for beauty or for portraits. And I also love to combine my modifiers and combine shooting with both hard and soft light, so I've had quite a few shoots where I'm working with both my beauty dish and my indirect 59-inch as well, maybe even throw my 39-inch in there too. Here's an example of my beauty dish paired with my 39-inch Octa, and I love that we're getting this beautiful soft light with that wraparound quality, and we're also getting these great details too, and a couple other examples using my beauty dish. And that's it for this video. Short and sweet, just to cover my 3 favorite modifiers and a few reasons why. Let me know in the comments what your favorite modifier is, if you've tried any of my favorites, and I look forward to seeing the comments and also seeing you all here next time.